He stood there, a titan of industry, his multi-million-dollar vehicle a gleaming beast at the curb. Then, he uttered words that shattered the quiet afternoon. You're my mother." The woman, a ghost of a figure wrapped in rags, looked up, her eyes wide with a confusion born of years on the brutal streets. How did this happen? How could a life of unimaginable wealth intersect with abject poverty in such a raw, undeniable way? The truth, it turned out, was far more shocking than anyone could have imagined. For as long as he could recall, Ethan Thorne wrestled with a gnawing emptiness. He knew two irrefutable facts. He'd been adopted, and somewhere a woman who'd given him life had simply vanished. Now, at 32, Ethan commanded an empire. He was the visionary CEO of Quantum Innovations, his life a dazzling display of high-performance vehicles, sprawling estates, and private jets. Yet, the opulence felt hollow. No amount of zeros in his bank account could fill the void left by his unknown origins. His adoptive parents, particularly his father, Richard Thorne, had meticulously guarded the secret. "She didn't want you," Richard would intone with cold finality. "Forget the past. We gave you everything." But Ethan couldn't forget. He'd often catch his reflection, a silent question burning in his eyes. Whose features do I truly bear? What lineage flows through these veins? The moment Richard Thorne passed, Ethan, now the undisputed head of the family trust, stumbled upon a hidden compartment in the old man's private study. Inside, a sealed, age-worn envelope. It contained faded documents, official-looking signatures, and a photograph. The picture, a sepia-toned echo from the past, showed a young black woman, gaunt and weary, cradling a newborn white infant. A faint, almost pained smile touched her lips for the camera. Below, in unsteady script, Alara Vance, 1992, birth mother of Ethan Thorne. Legal adoption record. Ethan's breath hitched. Those eyes. They were hers. They were his. A cold clinical letter accompanied the photo. Due to unforeseen and tragic circumstances, coupled with severe economic hardship, the biological mother has consented to full legal adoption. No future claims permitted. Document sealed. Reason: death of husband in aviation incident. Single mother unable to provide care in unstable financial conditions. The words hit Ethan like a physical blow. She hadn't abandoned him out of indifference. She'd been cornered, alone, grieving, utterly without recourse. And he, her infant son, had been ripped from her arms. For weeks, sleep eluded Ethan. A singular, burning resolve consumed him. He had to find her. He mobilized the finest private investigators, scoured archaic social records. Nothing. No death certificate, no digital footprint, no trace. It was as if Alara Vance had simply ceased to exist. Or so they believed. Then, one crisp autumn afternoon, destiny, in its own cruel and beautiful way, intervened. Ethan had just concluded a high-stakes corporate luncheon in the historic cobblestone district of Viridian City. He navigated his vibrant metallic orange supercar slowly through the labyrinthine streets, his thoughts adrift, always returning to that faded photograph. Her eyes. Her face. Where are you, mother? Are you even alive? As he approached a bustling crosswalk, traffic began to seize up. Ethan's gaze drifted to the sidewalk, and then he saw her. An elderly black woman, painfully thin, her back stooped under the immense weight of a tattered canvas sack. Her clothes were threadbare, her feet bare and calloused. She shuffled forward, head bowed, a forgotten relic of the city's underbelly. But Ethan's heart slammed against his ribs. That face. Those eyes. It was her. An electrical current shot through him. Without a second thought, he stomped on the brake pedal. The supercar shrieked to a halt, jarringly out of place amidst the blaring horns and irritated shouts that erupted behind him. Ethan didn't care. He shoved the door open and launched himself onto the pavement. The old woman looked up, startled, as the young millionaire, immaculate in his charcoal power suit, lunged toward her. For a long moment neither spoke. Ethan's chest heaved. His hands trembled uncontrollably. Then, his voice raw with unspoken emotion, he croaked, You're my mother." The old woman blinked, bewildered. Her frail frame shuddered beneath the heavy sack. She stared at the impeccably dressed young white man, his eyes wide with an emotion she couldn't comprehend. What did you say?" she stammered, her voice raspy. Ethan's voice cracked. You're my mother. I know it. Please tell me your name." Tears welled in the woman's tired eyes. "Alara," she whispered, barely audible. Ethan's knees buckled. It was the name. The one from the adoption file. He fumbled in his jacket pocket, pulling out the folded photograph. The same faded image of her, young, holding an infant. He held it out with trembling hands. "Look, it's you. It's me." Alara's breath caught in her throat. Her eyes locked onto the ancient photograph. Her hands flew to her mouth, a guttural sob tearing from her lips. "Oh God, no, it can't be." Ethan's voice was urgent now. "Please. I've searched for you. I know what happened. I found the papers. The truth about my father, about what they did to you." Tears streamed down Alara's weathered face. Her legs gave way, and she sank to the cold sidewalk, sobbing uncontrollably. Ethan knelt beside her, his voice a broken whisper. "You didn't abandon me. You saved me. You gave me life." Alara's frail hands reached up, cupping his face, disbelief warring with a desperate hope in her eyes. They told me I would never see you again," she wept. "After your father died, I had nothing. I couldn't feed myself, let alone a baby. I had no choice." Her voice broke completely. "They forced me to sign. They made me take that photo. They said it was the only way to save you." Ethan pulled her into a fierce embrace. "You don't have to explain," he murmured into her hair. "You're my mother. You always will be." For long agonizing minutes, they clung to each other, lost in a maelstrom of raw emotion. Years of pain, of buried grief, of desperate longing poured out in a torrent of tears. Passers-by paused, gawking at the surreal tableau. A wealthy young man, embracing a ragged beggar woman in the heart of the city. But Ethan was oblivious. Finally, through tear-filled eyes, he looked at her. "Come with me," he said softly. "Please. Let me take care of you now." Alara shook her head weakly. "Look at me. I'm nothing. I have nothing. You're a rich man. You don't need me." Ethan smiled gently, a profound sadness in his eyes. "You are everything I've ever needed. I have all the money in the world, but I've never had my mother." Slowly, with trembling legs, Alara allowed him to help her into the plush interior of the supercar. For the first time in decades, she sank into soft leather, tears still silently tracing paths down her weathered cheeks. Ethan pulled out his phone. "Liam," he instructed his assistant, his voice firm, "get the best medical team. Arrange for immediate comprehensive care. And prepare the master guest suite at the estate. My mother is coming home." In the weeks that followed, Alara underwent a transformation. Medical treatment, nourishing food, new clothing. Gradually, her strength returned. Each evening, Ethan would sit with her by the crackling fireplace, a silent listener as she recounted her life. Stories of his father, of a love lost too soon, of the agonizing choice she was forced to make, and of the long, lonely years spent wondering what had become of her child. One quiet evening, as the embers glowed, Alara looked at her son, now robust, accomplished, and brimming with kindness. "I thought I had lost you forever," she whispered, her voice still fragile. "I never thought you would forgive me." Ethan reached for her hand, squeezing it gently. "There's nothing to forgive," he said softly. "You gave me life. And now I can finally give you the life you deserve." And so, the woman once compelled to relinquish her child, the woman once reduced to begging on the unforgiving streets, now lived with the dignity and profound love of a son she had never, for a single moment, stopped loving.